because if you look back, you can see now you have 15 total cancellations from all the years from before, dating to 2019. But now when you have this 1 year that has elapsed, you have an additional 12. This is just to show you the gravity of the amount of projects that are not economically feasible or may get canceled. So the guys at Talk Condos are monitoring 90 projects right now that have not started. And if those do not come online, it could be a lot of units that actually don't make it there, kind of like what the Altus report was saying. Toronto's pre-construction market is severely crumbling. More than just canceled projects, some developers are going straight into receivership. The Star just dropped a new map showing the damage, but here's the thing. They didn't show you everything. I've been tracking this for months, so be sure to keep watching as I show you even more alarming details. Hi, my name is Zen. If you enjoy my data-driven and number-crunching real estate updates, be sure to like and subscribe. So Toronto developers are quietly canceling condos. Yes, true. And for the first time, the Star has mapped out the extent of the crisis. Great headline, just great headline. But it is true. So a lot of people don't actually know when projects are canceled, or they've gone to receiverships, or they've been converted to purpose-built rentals. So one of the things that I'm gonna highlight from this article that's very great when you're looking at this is that because there's a lack of transparency in the new build or pre-construction space, having this map helps a lot of people. So they're saying for the first time that this is available to the open public, and they've broken it down into 3 types of categories. So you got your builders who have converted into a rental. So let's say maybe they didn't get enough sales, or economically it just doesn't make sense. So they will turn that into purpose-built rentals because there are government-backed kind of financing programs to create more rentals that I've talked about in the past. So that's why, you know, if you can't sell it, basically try to turn to rental so that, you know, you can at least do something with the piece of land that you bought. So you have like 3 dots over here that are in green. Your receiverships, which is the ones that you have in purple. So the receivership company comes in and takes control of all the assets, and they basically start selling it off or doing something so that the people that are owed money can be paid back. But unfortunately, if you're an investor or a buyer in some of these projects, you're low on the totem pole to get your money back, because usually it goes like taxes, the receivership company, the mortgages, the second mortgages, construction loans, all that stuff have to be paid back before it gets into the buyers, right? So that's unfortunate, but there are 4 little purple dots over here. And then your canceled projects are just straight up where the developer's like, hey, project's not going anymore. So this could be like, hey, it may not be economically feasible, or there's no profit margins for the builders. So like, hey, we're shutting the door, it's all done. Or maybe something funny has happened, which was also, you know, has happened in the past with projects over here, like the Grand Central Mimico projects. So in this map, there's 4 of them. So this may seem like there's very little from all the news that's been happening. And the fact is, it's true. This is very little, because if you're in the real estate space and you pay for subscriptions, you have maps like this, which show you a lot of properties that have actually been canceled over here. So the Toronto Star map actually just illustrates all of the Toronto cancellations. But what I'm showing in front of you right now is all the cancellations in GTA. So you can see right now there's actually 27 cancellations. Now, granted, some of these are a little bit older because there's a whole cluster of them in Vaughan that went belly up a while ago. There's also some bigger ones and smaller ones that haven't been caught in the Toronto Star map. So you can see some in Mississauga as well. Now, of the 27 that I can see over here, it's quite a lot of units, but I'm gonna show you who the builders are so you get a sense of like whether they're big or small. I'm just gonna zoom in to show you who the developers are. And when I go through the list, a lot of them are like smaller companies that don't exist anymore, or in the case, a large one being Crestford, something else happened. I'm not gonna get into this article, but most of them are fairly small companies. And because the smaller ones don't have the ability to hold on to the projects, they're the reason why there's gonna be cancellations or they've been converted to something else. So right now, there's been 27 that have been canceled, and I suspect there probably will be more. Now, because of all these cancellations, this is the exact reason why the sentiment for pre-construction or new home sales or condos is so low. So you can see in the last report from Altus Group, there was 42 condos sold in the city of Toronto. 42. It's really, really bad. So you can see this is the report that Altus came up with, and this is where that article is coming up with that number. 42 condo sales in the city of Toronto. It's really, really bad. Now, obviously, when you include the entire kind of like call it GTA, it's not as bad, but just in the city of Toronto, yeah, it's bad. And when we look at these 2 charts over here, the top one here talks about the total sales in the current months of May. So for all of GTA right now, the month of May, there was 345 new home sales, which is pre-constructions. Now, this number does include single family homes, which are your townhomes, your semis and detached, which are generally performing a little bit better, but they also include condos. Hey, it's me interrupting myself. Ready to make a move? Just one free call, no hassle, but decades of experience to work for you. So you can see of that 345, you can see 208 of them are single family homes and 137 of them are actually condos. So I would say you're skewing maybe like 60% freehold, 30, 40% condos. And when we look at year to date, so meaning from the month of January to the month of May, you can see that we have almost 2,000 sales for pre-construction in total. It's really, really bad. If we thought 2024 was bad, which was 4,600 year to date, this is half of that. And when we look at the 10-year average of 12.5 thousand, we're at 2. So you can see that we have a huge problem. Nobody is buying these pre-construction because one, they don't make any sense, and the sentiment on it is very, very bad. Now, a lot of people are saying that we are effectively right now, because we're not selling any pre-construction, we're sowing a huge problem in the future, call it 2027 and 2028, because we're not building anything and the population may potentially still grow, that we're gonna have a lack of supply. And I agree with that to a certain tiny extent, but at the same time, I don't, and I'll show you why. You can see in this chart over here that the dark blue line, so this line over here, are pre-construction units, meaning they have not started construction. There's no hole in the ground. So of all the units that will begin completion in the future that are being counted for, 8,200 of them are actually not started yet, which means that there's a probability if they're not economically feasible, they may actually be canceled. Keep that in mind. Now, of the units that are coming online right now, 7,000 of them right now, so this lighter blue line, are under construction. So you can see that in this legend over here. That means these have started construction and they're likely going to be completed. So these will be coming online because they've started construction. Now the last legend over here, which is this green line, has 1,100 units that are effectively standing inventory, which means that you could go see the unit and buy it. This is inventory that the builder hasn't finished selling. So of all the units, I would say that half of them are going to complete, which is your 7,000 units and your 1,100 units here, with the probability that this 8,200 may not actually ever make it to starting construction. And speaking of construction, this is a chart I used from the guys at Toronto Condo before, talking about just how many projects are potentially at risk. So this was a chart we're looking at in 2024. And what you're looking at is in every single year, how many projects would have launched, which is this number over here. And based on the color code, whether it's on hold or canceled, which is what we're talking about in this video, so the green little dot up here, or completed, which is the orange one. And as you can see, a lot of the 2019 stuff has actually finished, but you can see some of the stuff that's sold in 2021 and 2022 have not completed yet and are still actually under construction, which is this little block over here. And then when you have your blue lines, which are the ones that are not starting construction, this is what I was talking about before, just how many of them are at risk. So last year, same time, looking at this chart, you can see we had 15 projects that were canceled and 223 that are under construction. So as a ratio, that is actually fairly well. So what does this look like in 2025 now? So the guys have updated this and you can see there's an additional 12 projects that have been canceled or are on hold right now. And only since last year when we did the chart, 28 of them have started construction. It's not a very good ratio because if you look back, you can see now you have 15 total cancellations from all the years from before dating to 2019. But now when you have this 1 year that has elapsed, you have an additional 12. This is just to show you the gravity of the amount of projects that are not economically feasible or may get canceled. So the guys at Toronto Condos are monitoring 90 projects right now that have not started. And if those do not come online, it could be a lot of units that actually don't make it. They're kind of like what the Altus report was saying. So depending on which project, if you're watching this that you're invested in or a buyer of, if it gets canceled, it may be good, it may not be good for you. It really just depends on each person's individual situation. However, what I will say is this. Yes, cancellations are increasing right now, but we're still gonna have a lot of units delivered. And in previous charts before, like I showed you, you can see that this one, we're generally looking at about somewhere between 75,000 units coming online at the end of next year, which is a lot. And if we were to use this data just to cross-reference it, you can see over here, we have 223 buildings that are under construction, and we have another 28. So if we do some quick math here, let's say we have 28 plus 223 buildings that are under construction. Let's say all average 300 units. That means we're looking at 75,000 units coming online anyways. So what that means is, even though we have a pre-construction shortage coming online in terms of sales and construction, we're still going to be delivering 75,000 units, which is why I'm saying that I think resale prices are still going to stay fairly weak for condos, and there's going to be additional rental pressure to come down because we have so many units coming online on top of the purpose-built rentals that a lot of the institution guys are building with CMHC finance money. And this is exactly what I talk about in this video, where I tell all our landlords, just brace yourself for rents to come down for another 2 or 3 years. And if you understand that some more, make sure you click on the video that's on the screen. I'll see you in that video. Until next time, your move, your future. See ya.